It's the Hold Up Show. Let's go.
They tried to bury my mic. They tried to race Mr. Bully off the map.
Cause I got one, and I'm mobbing. These niggas wanted me dead, these niggas wanted me gone. When motherfucker I popped up. Cause I got one,
Calhoun.
and I'm mobbing. These niggas wanted me dead, these niggas wanted me gone. When motherfucker calm down, boom, 8th and 9th with me. Young shooters, Olympic guns, who wanna back send me? 007, how smooth I am, Master Blicky. Air holes, gun clips fatter than the ass on Nikki. Giving out the Go Live Award to weak amateurs. Ben Simmons with no shot, I was bound to score a game full of no skills at all. And saturated wax, burn fast and cooled and flat, niggas candle wax. Haters get they 2 cents, I'm rich nigga, pennies, clout chase, attention whores. Mad I ain't paying any, ain't seen posted up, so now I ain't bully. Lot of new faces around, so now I ain't goody. Niggas is dropouts playing hooky from hard work, while I'm pounding your bitch leg up doing the dirt. Chimed in the other light skin behavior, the worst, the game a mess. Who do it the best? I say it first.
Boom, nigga.
Cause I got one,
Yeah.
and I'm mobbing. These niggas wanted me dead, these niggas wanted me gone. When motherfucker I popped up. Cause I got one, and I'm mobbing. These niggas wanted me dead, these niggas wanted me gone. When motherfucker calm down, boom, 8th and 9th with me. Seduce speakers, kill beats for a few Benjis. I'm dreaming Bentley, Maserati, 2 Ducatis. They rather me Tupac, quad studio lobbies. I grind to be penthouse, 2 mommies giving gobbies. They want me facing 25 to life for 2 homies. My hobby, annihilate all, praying for my downfall. Living my best life, cheesing harder than Duval. Who fall? Think you Luke Cage, but only lukewarm. Rose from the concrete, all they see is my pedal torn. Punish a comic, how I keep the metal drawn. Stereotype is pigment like he must be soft. Wondering how I stay pretty for this long. Ali, Earl Spence, how who's swinging them paws. Iceberg slim, one grin, I'm in them draws. Can't keep your bitch off my lap, nigga, I'm Santa Claus. Boom.
Whispering to my niggas.
Cause I got one,
Yeah.
and I'm mobbing. These niggas wanted me dead, these niggas wanted me gone. When motherfucker I popped up. Cause I got one, and I'm mobbing. These niggas wanted me dead, these niggas wanted me gone. When motherfucker.
Yeah. Thought I asked the 3 to uptown that Nero. Doing our thing type shit. You dig? Cause I got one. And you don't.
So what's up, good people? It's your boy Boom back with another segment of the Hold Up Show. And hold up, what's the price on that? Today we're going to be going over the Eagles off season so far up to date. We're going to also be going over, posing a few questions when it comes to Myles Garrett, and that whole situation. So let's get into it. Hold up. So I got this article from USA Today Sports. It's going over the Eagles mock draft. Every Philly pick after the NFL Combine is now over. And a little bit of Myles Garrett talk from their point of view, right? So let's get into it. All of the Eagles draft picks could look very different before the official start of the new season on March 12th. But by then, the Eagles would have either traded for Browns edge rusher Myles Garrett or not. They would have, or at least have a much better idea if they're moving on from their own free agents. Those are led by key players in linebacker Zach Bond, defensive lineman Milton Williams, and defensive edge rusher Josh Sweat, and right guard Mekhi Becton. All of this could not only affect the order of the Eagles' picks, but the positions that they'll be looking to add. Helping Saquon. These two players with Delaware ties could help Saquon Barkley and at DB in the NFL draft. All things Eagles, latest Eagles. The next one. Okay. So, for example, if the Eagles trade for Garrett, they'll obviously give up their first round pick and quite possibly their second round pick, not to mention an early round pick in 2026. It is also possible the Eagles will get a late round pick in return. In that scenario, the Eagles won't prioritize edge rusher and probably not defensive tackle either. For this exercise, though, we're going to assume the status quo that Garrett is still with the Browns and that the Eagles are losing Sweat, Williams, and Becton in free agency while keeping Bond. But performances at the NFL Combine also changed things. Someone like Texas A&M Shamar Stewart, for example, was considered a late round pick before the Combine and possibly someone the Eagles could pick. That is probably no longer the case after Stewart ran the 40-yard dash in 4.59 seconds and posted a vertical leap of 40 inches. That's incredible for someone Stewart's size of 6'5" and 267 pounds. Before this combine, the last player 6'5" and above to leap 40 inches or more was, of course, a fellow Texas A&M alum, Garrett. So here is the first round pick mock draft for the Eagles, according to USA Today Sports. Round 1, pick 32, James Pierce, edge from Tennessee. If Pierce reminds you of Nolan Smith, well, he should. Pierce led all edge rushers with a 4.47 time in the 40, and at 6'5", 245 pounds, he's built much like Smith. Pierce's career trajectory could be much like Smith's, as Smith struggled in his rookie year before blossoming in his second year, or year 2. Pierce, however, can fit nicely in a rotation as a rookie. Their first mock draft had them taking Darius Alexander at defensive tackle from Toledo. Round 2. Pick 64, Harold Fannin, tight end, Bowling Green. See, I suspected they would pick a tight end because Dallas Goedert can't really stay healthy and is on the beginning of tail end of his career, so they like to get him in early, the same way they did with Goddard with Zach Ertz, the same way they did Zach Ertz with Breck Selleck, the same way they did Breck Selleck with Chad Lewis. They just have a good eye for drafting tight ends, right? Those hard-nosed white guys that come through and just pound on you, right? Or could catch everything. I only think the last time they had like a brother playing tight end that was good that we can remember was L.J. Smith from 2004 Super Bowl team. But he didn't last long. He kind of fizzled out pretty quickly. I think he only lasted to probably the third year of his rookie deal before he either just couldn't stay healthy or he just wasn't as talented or his body, body couldn't sustain after that amazing rookie year. So, but let's get into Fannin. It would only make sense for the Eagles to draft Fannin, the leading receiver both in yards and catches. That's more of a possibility after the Eagles signed Fannin's head coach Scott Loferl Lofer as their quarterbacks coach. As an eventual replacement for Dallas Goedert, Fannin could work in with Goddard and Grant Calcaterra, then take over as both are entering the final year of their contracts. Even if Goddard's contract is restructured, Goddard and Fannin would make a nice combination. Their first mock draft had them taking Savon Jones, edge rusher from LSU, in the second round. So, round 3, pick 96, Charles Grant, tackle from William and Mary. Yes, the Eagles could draft a player from the FCS level, especially one with room to grow, literally like Grant. At 6'5", Grant weighs 311 pounds and can definitely fill out some more while he sits behind tackles Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson. Grant can even start out at guard like another tackle the Eagles picked in the third round 2 years ago in Tyler Steen. Assuming Becton leaves in free agency, Steen could start at right tackle while Grant and Trevor Keegan, 6th round pick from 2024, could battle to back him up. The original mock draft they had them taking Marcus Imbo, guard from Purdue. They're showing other draft picks from Twitter. So, round 4. Pick 128. Malachi Moore. Safety, Alabama. Moore spent his freshman year at Alabama practicing against Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, which isn't a bad way to learn. Moore at 5'11 and 196. Didn't run at the combine. The Eagles have depth at safety, but Reed Blankenship is entering his final season, and Moore could also compete at nickel if the Eagles decide to move Cooper DeJean outside if Darius Slay doesn't return. Original 4th round pick in their first draft, they had the Eagles picking the tight end Fanning. Round 5, pick 161, Shamir Dyke, wide receiver from Florida. Dyke began his career at Wisconsin before transferring. He ran a 4.34 in the 40, meaning he could grow into a field stretcher to help out A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Dyke averaged 18.6 yards per reception last season. The Eagles would be a good place for him to learn as Jahan Dotson is entering the final year of his rookie contract. The first mock draft had them taking Denzel Burke, cornerback out of Ohio State. So round 5, pick 165. Marcus Yarns, running back from Delaware. Yarns' performance at the combine, where he ran a 4.45 in the 40, only makes him more appealing as a Kenny Gainwell type of replacement, serving as a receiver out of the backfield behind Saquon Barkley and Will Shipley. If anyone doubts Yarns' ability against tough competition, he had a 66-yard touchdown run against Penn State in 2023. Original mock draft had them taking Marcus Yarns at the same pick. Round 5, pick number 168, Danny Strutzman, linebacker out of Oklahoma. Strutzman at 6'3", 233 pounds, has a similar size as Braun. Strutzman shows he can run at the combine and clocking a 4.52 in the 40. If Braun returns, Strutzman can learn and possibly compete for a starting job if Nakobe Dean isn't ready to start the season. But if Braun ends up leaving, the Eagles might have to draft a linebacker much earlier. Original mock draft had them taking Kobe King, linebacker out of Penn State, in the same pick. So that is USA Today Sports. That is a overview of their mock draft. This is their second mock draft regarding the Eagles picks. This is also if the Eagles do not trade any draft picks and compensation that is going to the Browns for Myles Garrett, or in the package being offered for Myles Garrett, right? Because all that's subject to change. We all know how Howie Roseman loves to will and deal during the draft, and this draft will be no different, especially if we got to give up some picks to get Myles Garrett. And yeah, so I also wanted to get into this other article regarding free agency, right? So this is from the EaglesWire.com, from EaglesWire.usatoday.com, right? The 2025 NFL free agency, 5 under the radar players for the Eagles to consider signing. With free agency fast approaching, we're looking at 5 under the radar players who could interest the Eagles. So let's get into that, right? The Eagles will enter NFL free agency with a decent amount of cap space, $22 million, and a few holes on the roster of a team looking to win back-to-back Super Bowls. The tampering period is just 8 days away, and the new league year could see Philadelphia take steps to retain big names like Zach Bond, Milton Williams, and Mekhi Becton, among others. With free agency fast approaching, we're looking at 5 under-the-radar players who could interest the Eagles. Is anybody really believing that the tampering period is 8 days away and not going on right now? Let's be serious, right? These players are talking to each other, then they'll go back and they'll tell Howie, hey, Howie, this is what he said to me. Hey, let's be serious, right? So, number 1, Sebastian Joseph Day. Defensive tackle from the Titans, a Pennsylvania native, a 6'4", 310-pounder. Joseph Day has played with the Rams, the Chargers, the 49ers, and last year the Titans. Joseph Day played in all 17 regular season games in 2024, finished with 44 tackles, 18 solo, including 2.5 sacks and 1 pass defense. Solid for the rotation, right? If Milt Williams was to go. Aaron Banks, offensive lineman from the 49ers. The 2021 second-round pick has started 41 games over the last 3 seasons for the 49ers and would give Philadelphia competition for Tyler Mean Steen at right guard if Mekhi Becton departs. Offensive linemen are always tricky. But if Stoutland wants him, I'm with whatever Stoutland's opinion is, because he knows and he sees things that we just aren't able to see. Jedrick Wills, offensive lineman from the Browns, taking 3 picks ahead of Tristan Wirfs in the 2020 NFL Draft. Wills never quite settled in at left tackle. The Browns eventually benched the top 10 pick. A switch to the right side of the line and offensive guard could prove fruitful. Yeah. Stoutland's always looking to take on top talent athletes and take them through his university and retool those techniques. Number 4, Tyrell Dodson, linebacker from the Dolphins. Dodson was not a fit for the Seahawks coach Mike McDonald's defense, but after getting waived, he quickly found a home in Miami where he settled in as a nice 3-down addition to the Dolphins defense. His best performance came in Week 17 in a win against the Cleveland Browns where he recorded 15 tackles and an interception, earning AFC Defensive Player of the Week honors. Dodson could be this offseason's version of Zach Bond. Yeah, we should always be looking to tool up on linebackers while we can, all right? And I'm not talking about the top tier linebackers. I'm talking about above average or could have the potential to break out above average like a Zach Bond because they were trapped in a mismatch role or something to that nature, right? Number 5, Baron Browning, edge rusher, Cardinals. Phillies could lose Josh Sweat through free agency and Brandon Graham to retirement, and Browning could provide the pass rush prowess to help offset Bryce Huff's disappointment in 2024. Browning is an explosive professional pass rusher who just needs to put it all together. Yeah, so that is from Eagles Wire, their opinions on some under the radar free agents that could possibly be on the Eagles list, right? So, my questions I would like to pose to my fellow Eagles Nation. What's the price on that? Now, I know he's the best lineman in football, right? Defensive lineman in football. I also know he is a freak of nature. We see him, right? And we also see he's getting paid, right? But he is 29 years old. He's an exceptional 29 years old, but he is still 29 years old. So how much top tier still be the best defensive lineman in the game, or just in the top 10 to 15 really good productive years can we expect out of Mr. Myles Garrett for the possible compensation that the Browns may be looking for in return? Now, we are almost certain that Howie will try to include Bryce Huff in that deal, right? Might as well just throw him in player for player, right? To get some of this money of his off our books. Or he might hold him, use whatever draft, because the Browns might not want Bryce Huff, right? And they might use whatever draft compensation or whatever the Browns may be looking for, right? Whether if they have to throw in some players or just straight up draft capital. And then use a player like a Huff to try to replenish the draft capital to a team that may actually want him, right? May able to get some thirds and fourths, or a third and a fourth, or something like that, right? Some conditional something, like we get a third this year and a conditional third or fourth depending on his production the following season, or something like that. Something to replenish what we spent to possibly get Garrett, right? So my thing is he worth it? At 29 years old, you know, he's put in his work. He's did everything he's had to do, right? But is he worth it to possibly not be able to re-sign a younger Josh Sweat, Milton Williams? Do we possibly let Mekhi Becton walk or not overpay Zach Bond because we're trying to get Myles Garrett in, right? Like, that's what I mean when I say, is he worth it? Is he worth all those possible variables that may happen with what we got to give up to get him, right? We just won a Super Bowl. We know these players in their role. Of course, this guy is an upgrade probably over all of them. But still in all, right? Is he worth it, right? So now say you get past that, right? Let's say, hey, he's worth it, right? Whatever. Give them what they want. He's worth it, right? Save the man from Cleveland, right? How much should be offered for this guy? He is 29 years old. He's probably making 30 to 35 million or something like that a year. We don't know what he's going to count against the cap exactly in terms of money. We already still got to deal with some other possible dead money by moving Bryce Huff and maybe some other things moving around. You know what I mean? They might release Slay or might ask him to restructure to something ridiculous where he'll just be like, oh, just cut me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still some other variables involved. So how much should be offered? Is this year's 32 and maybe some conditional second or third or second and third next year feasible? Or do we give the first and the second this year and a conditional third next year with a player, a youngin or something that they might want, right? Is that too much for a 29-year-old that you know is not going to show up to your organization? It's not that he's forcing, like he says, make it with the Eagles and no one else, right? He's looking like he's positioned himself like he's open, right? Like he's open to a contender. Like it don't have to be the Eagles. It could be Detroit. It could be the Eagles. It could be Washington. It could be possibly Dallas because he's from the area. It could possibly be the Texans or, you never know, right? And what we offer, would the Browns take it? We could offer everything under the sun. They still got to accept the offer, right? And then say he gets here. Does he want a new contract? That's not been discussed. You don't want to have to give up draft capital and then have to pay a guy. You know what I'm saying? Or are we going to ask him to restructure his contract and make some of that more bonus money so we could possibly sign some people for the stuff we had to give up to give him? Will he understand that? Right? Because he's still at the top of his game. He's still got to secure as much as he can out of his career before it's over financially. So then that made me pose another question to myself regarding this offseason so far. Is Zach Bond about to overplay his hand? And when I say overplay, I mean want top 3 linebacker money now and not top 10, top 15 because of the skyrocket in the year that he had, right? Because what was he? Top 30, 40 linebacker when he signed him? You know what I'm saying? He wasn't. No one was breaking down doors to get Zach Bond. Vic Fangio saw something. Put him in some type of situation to absolutely succeed and overachieve, right? Let's not take it away from Zach Bond, though. He did the work. He went out there, performed. He was punching out balls. He did what he had to do to earn his money. But he would know, just like we would know, you're not top 3 linebacker money, right? But your agent might be like, hey, you are in the best position possible. You are a Super Bowl hero. You are a fixture in the town now. Force them to pay you, right? Or force them to pay you more than what you're actually worth, right? Right? Because you weren't getting anything for, so you're basically trying to make up for those previous football years and for your football future all in this one contract, right? Because it will probably get no better than this for the type of year you had last year, right? You were the best linebacker, or if not the best linebacker, you sure played like the best linebacker. You had the best outcome that it could be for the number 1 defense in the league that won a Super Bowl. Yeah, so, and you pretty much, between you and that defensive line, were the leaders of the defense. So, would you overpay Zach Bond? Or do you think that the fan base would understand if we let him walk because the price was just outrageous, right? I think Howie would come out and say, yo, you know we wanted Zach Bond back here, but the price was outrageous. He's already an older linebacker. The price was outrageous. We couldn't do it. I ask you this. Zach Bond or Myles Garrett? If you could walk one through the door right now, Zach Bond or Myles Garrett, which one you taking? You could possibly have both, but if you couldn't have both, would you overpay for Zach Bond or would you overpay for draft compensation for Myles Garrett? It's tough. It's tough. Because as Eagle fans, we pride ourselves on loyalty and appreciating people who get us to the promised land. We have not been in this stratosphere before of winning multiple Super Bowls in a time frame, right? This is all new to us, right? We've shown extreme loyalty to just people who just came in and played hard for a few seasons, right? Showed that they had the guts and the glory to just put on that Eagles green. And we've loved them forever. So imagine a guy that came in and captured the city and put in the dirty work when nobody thought he was going to do what he did what he did, led the number one defense, and took it to the Super Bowl win. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough versus the best, probably the best defensive player in football, if not definitely the best defensive lineman in football, right? Then I pose this other question, right? Has this all but signaled that the Eagles ain't probably going to even offer Josh Sweat a contract? Because it's just too much of cheaper or just better options out there. And they've seen the limits and levels of what he could do, or they have an idea. He's homegrown, right? Does it just feel like, hey, we're just going to show him the door? Or if he wants to wait it out to see how the variables and the dominoes fall, to see if we don't get our guy, which he's probably not, right? And does this also signal bye-bye to Milton Williams? If you overpay for Zach Bond, if you get Myles Garrett and overpay for Zach Bond, or you get Myles Garrett, lose Zach Bond, because I'm pretty sure Milton Williams is going to want to cash out too. Now, the Mekhi Becton variable that you can't let this guy walk. I don't think he would walk. I think he understands and he's reading the room in the situation, and I think he's found his coach in Stoutland that I don't think he wants to. I don't think he would want to leave his side. That's just my thoughts. But when they start offering you millions of dollars and you only got one go at this, it might be, hey yo, I'll text you, Stout. You know what I'm saying? Like I get up with you another time, good brother. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta. You know what I mean? I gotta bust the moves that I gotta bust in this time frame, right? Thank you for resurrecting my career, but I gotta go, right? So, yeah, I think Howie has some options. I think we still have Darius Slay under contract, at least for another year. It would probably even look to trade him to get some of that capital back from them trying to do whatever they're going to do with Garrett. But if they don't get Garrett, I think they'll still trade Slay. I think they'll still trade Bryce Huff. I think they'll find a way to pay Bond, Sweat, and Becton. Sweat or Milton Williams, one or the other is going to have to be chosen between the two if they don't get their higher options. And they'll probably go with Sweat, in my opinion, right? So I want to know your thoughts. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Eagles Nation, my sports fans out there, or just the casual listener of the Hold Up Show. What's the price tag on that? What would you be willing to pay for some of these players if you're familiar with them in a situation? I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed the video in the beginning of one of my songs, Got One. And I would like to thank everybody who's subscribed recently and my already people who were subscribed to my page. I'm up to 24. We building this one brick at a time. I'd like to thank all 92 people who followed or liked my Home Boom page on Facebook, and everybody that follow me on any other social media that supports what I do. I want to appreciate you guys. Salute. And this is the Hold Up Show. Peace.